Hello everyone. Today I'm going to teach you how to graph systems of linear inequality. So example of that is the one that you see on the left side of your screen. We have y is less than 1/3 x plus 8, and then the other one is y is greater than negative 5 over 6x plus 1. Now let me just discuss to you the steps or the things that we will be doing. So these are the 5 steps. Number 1 is we will graph the first inequality. But we want to make sure that the inequality is in the form of y equals mx plus b. That equal sign can be less than or equal to, okay? Because it's easier to graph a linear inequality if it's in that form. We use solid straight line if it's an inclusive symbol, like less than or equal to and then greater than it or equal to. We use dash line if it's non-inclusive. Now this is very important. Shade the half plane above the y-intercept if it's greater than or equal to. Next, we shade the half plane below the y-intercept if it's less than or equal to. And then we do that for the next or the second inequality. Now once you done those 3 steps, you will see that there will be an overlapping shaded region. You will see that later on in my example. So those numbers in that overlapping region is what we call the solutions to the system. Any coordinate pair or ordered pair in the overlapping region are solutions. Check your answer by picking a test point from the solutions region, and if you get a true statement for both inequalities, then your answer is correct. So the last is just for checking. Okay, now let's go now answer this system of linear inequality. Let's graph the first one. So we have y is less than or equal to 1/3 x plus 8. All right, this is how we graph this. First, we will focus our attention on that constant number there. That gives us an idea of where to start. That's 8, meaning that's the y-intercept of this inequality. So the coordinates of that are 0 and 8, right? That is our starting point. Next is we need to find the slope. The slope is the numerical coefficient of x here. So in this case, it's 1/3. Okay, now before I graph this inequality, let me just remind you that if it's not a fraction, let's say it's a whole number, let's say it's 1. For the purpose of this lesson, you want to consider the denominator, because the numerator and the denominator will give you an idea of what's going to be the next point. So the denominator, or the numerator rather, the number on top, tells you the vertical movement. So if it's positive, from the y-intercept you go up. If it's negative, from the y-intercept you move downward. And then after that, the numerator tells you the horizontal movement. Okay, horizontal. That is after you move vertically. So if the number at the bottom is positive, you move to the right. If it's negative, you move to the left side. All right. Now let's now graph y is less than or equal to 1/3 x plus 8. Again, like what I said, we will start with that y-intercept, which is 0, 8. And that is here. That's 1/3. So 1 is the number on top that tells us the vertical movement. It's positive, so that means 1 unit upward. And then 3, that means 3 units to the right side. There you go. Now, this is an inclusive inequality, less than or equal to. So meaning that's a solid straight line. Now, this is less than or equal to. So that means we will shade the region below that y-intercept. That region right there. Okay? If it's greater than, the region above the y-intercept. So our y-intercept is 0, 8. It's less than, so we shade the region below it. Okay, so that's the graph of the first inequality. Now we will just repeat the procedure, follow the same procedure for the second inequality. So our second inequality is y is less than negative 5 over 6 x plus 1. Y-intercept is at 0, 1. That means we will start there. Our slope is at negative 5, or our slope is negative 5 over 6. Again, let me remind you, this is a fraction, but in case you encounter a slope that is a whole number, let's say 5, consider the denominator, which is 1. Okay? So, negative 5 over 6 is our slope. And we will start with 0, 1. 0, 1 is right here. That's negative 5. That's a vertical movement, the number on top. So that means 5 units downward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 6 units to the right side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There you go. Now, look at the inequality symbol. So here we have a greater than symbol. That's a non-inclusive inequality. So we will change the line into a broken straight line. Okay? Next, the shading part. It's greater than. So we will shade where? That is correct. Above the y-intercept. Okay? So let's shade the above. Nope, not that one. That one. Okay. Now this is now the solution, or this will tell you the solutions to the system. Okay. So to answer this one, by the way, this is, I'm using delta math here. We just need to pick any point from the overlapping shaded region. So let's say that is, let's say 1, 2. So any point will do. So let's just say 1, 2. 1 and then 2. All right. There. So 1, 2. It can be 1, 1. It can be 2, 3. So any point there. Okay. Now let's see if this is correct. There you go. That is correct. So that is how you graph systems of linear inequalities.